Let's talk some more now about tolling. Last night we showed you a bill in the Oregon legislature that would stop ODOT from tolling I-205 and I-5 except along the Columbia River Bridge to Washington State. We also highlighted some key points from ODOT's recent environmental assessment for the first tolls that are expected in our region. Those will be along the Abernathy and Tualatin bridges on I-205. It includes some early cost estimates for what you might pay for those tolls. You can watch our full report anytime on the KGW YouTube channel. From the station's main page, just scroll down and you'll see the story on KGW, and our most recent videos are right there. If you need something from a few days ago, just click on the story on KGW header and it will bring you to a full list. And if YouTube isn't your thing and you have Roku or Amazon Fire, just download KGW Plus. That's our streaming app. Then you can watch the story anytime, including past episodes. Just add KGW Plus to your homepage and watch our segments whenever it's convenient for you. All right, now back to our main story. Before we get too deep into this whole tolling thing, we want to address a couple of emails that we get each time we do a tolling story. Jeff says, haven't heard what type of toll booth mechanisms are planned. Is there some sort of automation or fast pass, or is there an expectation that somehow we'll have exact change? Yet another reason to leave Portland. And Barry says, how do they propose to collect these toll fees? Maybe I missed the answer to my question. Well, here you go, Barry. Plenty of others have asked things like, what's going on with this? This will only make traffic worse. People are going to be lining up at toll booths. Barry, you didn't miss the answer. We're going to give it in just a second. Let's be clear. There is not going to be a toll booth where you have to stop and put change into a basket. This will be automated with sensors above the road, kind of like what you're seeing here. You would basically have a transponder on your windshield, and each time you pass under sensors, your account would be charged. If you didn't have a transponder, the sensors would take a picture of your license plate, and you'd be mailed a bill for the toll. All of this is still a work in process for ODOT, but that's a general overview of how it's going to work. And for those of you sitting at home thinking, well, okay, but what if someone doesn't have a transponder or a license plate? Well, it's a safe bet ODOT's thinking about that, and they're going to find a way to make those folks pay. Now, if you grew up and lived on the East Coast, you're probably familiar with the automated tolling process with programs like Easy Pass. You have an online account that you add money to, and it's charged automatically as you drive so that you don't have to stop at a toll booth. Anyway, let's get to some of your thoughts on these latest tolling developments.
I sure appreciate you letting us call in and comment on things like the tolling. My name is Connie, and I think it's absurd. Can you imagine going into LA and being tolled on all those freeways? It would be a mess. Same thing here. I understand the Columbia River Bridge. I get that, but nothing else. I live in Canby. Can you imagine me trying to go to a doctor over on down farther on 205? I'd have to pay a toll every time. I think it's absurd and ridiculous.
And Margaret says tolling is a stupid, poorly thought out solution that will hurt the very Oregonians who the Portland metro area depends on to keep our economy running. Another viewer chimed in, tax, tax, tax. At what point do people say enough? In case no one has noticed, Oregonians can't afford to live in Oregon. One of the people against tolling that we spoke to yesterday brought up a compromise of tolled express lanes. Basically, if you want to drive faster, you pay a toll, get in that lane, and go. But if you're fine sitting in traffic for a bit longer, no toll. Larry agreed, writing in, as a transportation planner and a longtime transit advocate, I also agree that tolling for new express lanes is a better option. People would then have a choice to use the facility or not.
I'd like to say that I, in Seattle on a Thanksgiving trip, had to get to a certain place up in Washington at a certain time. And they have the fast lane that you can pay to go through. The bill got sent to me about a month later. It was $7. I made my appointment on time and got up there. And so I think allowing people choice rather than demanding from them is a way to go.
And yes, we hear those of you who we would say are pro-toll, which is great. And yes, those people do exist for those of you who are stunned to hear that. There's a lot of people. Ed said, I think all the people who complain about tolls or the possibility of tolls are acting like spoiled children who expect to get everything for free. Everybody wants government to work but aren't willing to pay for it. Tolling is a true user tax and should be implemented, and not necessarily because it's going to reduce freeway congestion, but because we need to pay for our roads. So, what did we learn today? There will not be toll booths slowing traffic down if the tolls are eventually implemented. And people across Oregon have a lot of differing views on this. Most are negative, but not all of them. And perhaps there is a compromise to be had in all of this. We'll see.